Hello, everyone. Welcome to WD Carousel of Podcast. My name's Ian.
And I'm Crystal.
And we're going to continue on our second part of our
best shows in Disney World.
Yeah, because we're not experts on Disneyland, so we're going to start with Disney World. We'll get there.
Once we actually go to Disneyland together,
we'll do that.
We'll be able to speak to it more.
Yep.
But until then, we are experts. Air quotations experts on
being
Disney
honest,
World. This is our opinions, and you guys are still listening to us, so you must enjoy them, or at least the banter back and forth.
At least there's something you like about whatever's happening. So
today we are going to cover the Disney Hollywood Studios shows, formerly known as MGM Studios.
Yes,
which it will always be in my head, and when I'm texting him, it was literally MGM.
MGM. So, and
I didn't understand what DHS was, other than a delivery service.
It's not DHL?
Oh, maybe.
It doesn't matter. This is... Anyway.
No advertising.
No, we're not advertising.
Oh, before we do that, make sure you check out our Patreon.
Yes, we have a Patreon, and...
Go check it out.
It's cool. There's extra stuff, and you can see stuff before it comes out on Saturday, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah. The shows in this park are predominantly the only... Okay, they're not the only attractions, but for a long time, they didn't have much going other than 4 rides, I think it was.
Yeah, they had, previously...
And then they opened up the Toy Story Land, which provided a few more rides, and then... Galaxy's Edge is going to be opening up later this year, and that's going to provide even more. But until then, this was known as the park for shows. Right. It was the park for getting in the movies. That's what the park was originally created for. And so a lot of the entertainment that went along with it went hand in hand, I would say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was designed to kind of, and I think... A couple of these you're going to see are very much in line with following the being part of the movies kind of thing was what that was all about. And even the rides at that point were also very much oriented toward the movies. Of course, that is
a lot
changing.
More IP.
Yeah.
A lot more IP.
Definitely a lot more IP, which of all the parks kind of makes sense because it's the movies.
It does.
I'm not... And also, that's a park that was in a period of time where it was just kind of like, what are you? After you got rid of a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, I didn't really know what it was anymore.
It didn't know how to identify itself because the actual studios creating the movies had closed.
Right.
The animation studios that were
in the
actual park were gone, closed, and then other rides started going away, and it was kind of lost for a while. Yeah. But there are, I believe, 7 shows
still permanent
that are going to this day that we are going to discuss and rank and figure out which one is our top show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start this off with, do we want to do a stage production?
Let's do stage productions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are a couple different shows that you can find there that have been there pretty much since the movies came out. The first one we'll cover is Voyage of the Little Mermaid.
Yes, that one's been around for a very long time.
Very long time.
And one that I have seen, and I have not seen all of them. So we went back and we watched to jog our memories on these.
Yes, recent video. That you can find on YouTube. So if you want to pre-plan, feel free to do so as well.
Get a sense of it. The Little Mermaid, and this is something that I remembered when I was young, and I was very young when I saw it, and coming back and watching again, my initial 5-year-old judgment was still correct. It's a lot of tech and not a lot of show. I mean, it's the show is kind of the tech. I mean, there's actors and you're in a theater, but... a lot of... There's
not a lot of actors, and it's mostly, screen projection of scenes from the movie, or lasers you can see over top of the ceiling, or there's the Under the Sea sequence, which they actually do have a lot of puppet characters coming out, but the only actual, characters that you see, there's Ariel.
Yep.
And she's only out for a little bit.
Yep. Stuck to a rock.
And then Eric pops out at the very end. So if you're looking for this to be a character-heavy show, this is probably not it.
The characters are in it, but a lot of times they're puppets, is what you'll find. In puppet, like Ursula, or like you said before with the Under the Sea stuff.
Ursula's a huge, probably multi-person puppet that comes out and sings a little song and
so it's
that movement.
it's a I would say in terms of just like as a show with special effects and stuff, it's like very cool and very immersive.
But it's definitely one that's dated.
Yeah, it feels dated.
And there has been a lot of advances done in technology, as we know, as well as ways to push this more, that I think this could really use a refresh. And you're going to find that as a theme for a lot of the shows that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But that's definitely one where, you know, it's a good place to go if you need air conditioning. So it's in an auditorium, there's air conditioning, you can have a dark area to just relax for a while.
And it's supposed to simulate underwater, so it just kind of feels... It's definitely not bad, and I don't think that there's ever, like, a really long wait for it.
I don't believe so.
So, you know, it's if you got time...
Go check it out.
Check it out.
The next one we'll go to is, how about Frozen Ever After?
Sure.
Because that one's kind of like it as well. So, Frozen Ever After Sing-Along, it tells the story of the movie Frozen as well. And they do have the characters a little bit. Like, Anna pops out in the beginning, and then at the end, then you have Anna, Elsa, and a couple more
characters.
But pretty much it's an intended sing-along. So they have a screen in the back again, as well as some on the sides where they can, you know, play the scenes from the movie that those songs pertain to, as well as have the words there. Not that any of the children in the audience are going to need the words on the screen.
They know. Though, even us adults that have heard it twice probably could know. Anyway, doesn't matter.
But it's narrated by a couple of characters or citizens of Arendelle, and they walk through the story of Frozen.
Okay, so it's told in like a retrospective, like we
Yes, I am telling you the history of Arendelle, and we are going to sing the traditional songs of Arendelle, which are the Frozen songs.
Which
so
is written by Jennifer and Robert Lopez. Got it. Not Jennifer. No, what is her name? Jennifer and Robert Lopez. I think that's their name.
I don't know who wrote it.
I can't remember the name. Robert. It doesn't matter. That's
Mumble.
Yeah, I used to know what that was. I used to know their names. Robert and Amanda Lopez. That is their name.
There you go.
Thank you.
But it's a lot more up to date. There is some scenery which adds a little bit more than, you know, other shows, but it's primarily just screen projection, walking through the main plot of the story, and then the sing-along aspect, which everybody wants to sing along with.
So it's less a stage show and more like a everyone sing along. It's like a Disney version of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Cult classic kind of thing, but all the cult classic people are children.
But it is also in another interior theater, and so you can get away from the sun and the heat and have some air conditioning, and it's just a nice little escape.
Yeah.
But, you know, that one might have a little bit more of a line just for how popular Frozen is.
Right.
But
yeah,
it's not anything that I
always assume there is a time increase because of the Frozen name.
The popularity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And then let's just talk about the final stage-ish production of the IP, and that would be Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. Yeah.
And Beauty and the Beast is pretty much a full live stage performance of the movie.
It is, and but it's been condensed into like
25 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, 25 minutes. Yeah, so it's like
it's one of the longer ones.
It is, and interestingly, in my memory of the video, and I think I have not seen it in real life.
Okay,
that was one of the ones I hadn't seen, so I've watched it now, but I had never seen it before, and it's interesting because it's very like. It's condensed. There's songs that are squished together. That happens, and the sets like are kind of like cardboardy.
Yeah, I mean they have to make it quick turnaround. Yeah. There's like a painted background and some slide outs. But as far as having an actual cast, they do. They have an actual cast of singers and dancers and costumes and. They go through huge songs and make the story feel more real. than where it's just a projection on a screen behind you, or behind the actors.
No, you get the feel, like, definitely the energy from the actors was there, and there's an entire cast with extra, like, you know, with a chorus, and it definitely felt like you were watching like a highly commercialized version of like a Broadway show.
Yeah, I'd say obviously the budget behind it is better than a high school play, but and the quality of the dancers and everything is better. Yeah. But it's that condensed of a version, and the props and the scenery.
It's stripped back. It's assembly line theater. They want you in and out, and they need to get their actors through quickly to get, they need to be able to perform it rapidly and be able to get done. So it's done in a way, it's put together in a way and choreographed in a way where it's easy for them to repeat it over and over again for however long in the shift.
But it's a huge thing. Like,
it is.
The Be Our Guest section is, they have dancers in full costume doing all these pirouettes and dancing with food items and all of this other stuff. Right. And it's a lot more involved, I feel, of a production for just sitting there and watching it. And it's very enjoyable. They had, in years past, had it out in one outside amphitheater, and I think it still is in an outside theater.
But they've moved it since?
I think they might have moved it depending on, location and work that needed to be done in certain areas, like when they were making Toy Story Land or whatever. Lots of stuff was going on.
Yeah.
But I believe that one's still outdoors. It might be covered, you would think, for sitting there for 25 minutes. You would
I believe that one is covered, one for heat, and the other one I think they cover it for lights. So they can do proper lighting.
Yeah, because then you can have like the spotlights and all
Right, because I have to run it throughout the whole day and
the flashy effects and stuff. Yeah. But that one's a really good one, very enjoyable, and I still like it to this day.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of the recommendeds from me.
Okay.
Where do we want to go from here?
What about let's do Star Wars?
Okay.
Just so we get that one through, because that one I've only seen part of it in real life, but I've watched it again since then.
So this is a performance that is done midday in front of the Chinese theater. They actually bring these stages out, almost like an unofficial parade, to put them up and then take them back down.
Yeah.
So obviously there's no seating. This is out in the daylight and the sunshine.
Yeah.
And there is honestly not too much to this one, but if you are a Star Wars nerd,
lots of costumes.
It's fun to see.
It's sort of an excuse for a parade of elaborate costumes, sort of, and a very lifelike BB-8. They have like a BB-8 that's very well put together animatronic that can go around and stuff.
So basically they have 3 screens behind the actor, play a little snippet of one character, and then that character comes out in their costume and maybe does a move or stands there posing, so you can take some really good pictures. And there's a hair on my chin, got it.
Nice.
But they slowly rotate through them all.
Right.
And then at the end, everybody comes out on stage, and there's these little fireworks, and they, stand dramatically for, intense pictures. Yeah. And what I had told Ian before in the past is if you stand to when you're facing the stage, the right of the stage, that's where a lot of the characters leave from, and you can kind of get the, hi, how are you doing? And that's, obviously they're not going to stop, but it's a slight more interaction option for you.
They'll interact in motion. Yeah. It's definitely one that's, it's very popular. So if you are trying to get through the Chinese theater replica area and that show is running, good luck. Because I've tried to do that, and so if you're not trying to watch it but you're in the area, it's something to be aware of, because it can really clog up that part. It takes up a
lot of space.
Yeah.
Especially since they don't have chairs, so they'll loosely clump in certain areas and they don't sit down, and then you're fighting over headspace, and really you have to work all the way back to the front of the Chinese theater to cut around to come back to any other side that you want.
Yeah, so it's something to be aware of. But it's certainly it's cool. It's got good nerd factor. So if you're in the fandom, absolutely worth checking out.
I'm not sure if they're going to keep it once Galaxy's Edge opens.
Right.
So, as per the date of recording this, that is an option for shows to see.
Right.
But we don't know what's going to happen once Galaxy's Edge opens.
This is true. This is very true. So, anyway, it's certainly interesting as long as it's here. Not a must-see, but, cool.
If you happen to be, getting your Starbucks and see the March of the Order come down the road, sure. That'll come by a couple times a day, but then, it normally precedes the show as well. Yeah. So just kind of follow it up there and do that too. Be part of the parade.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Star Wars. What else we got?
We have, let's go to Muppet Vision 3D.
Muppet Vision 3D. This is actually probably one of my favorite shows in Disney World, which is a big statement to make.
It's a very big
statement to make. But there is something about it that is so ridiculously off the wall that I'm just amazed. And it's just I don't know how to explain it, but there's something about that show that is just like, how did they let you in here? Like, it just kind of feels like it shouldn't even. They're kind of so self-aware that it's almost like it shouldn't be allowed. Like, the Disney police should have already found it, kind of thing. Like, it's so classically quintessentially Muppets that it's more concentrated Muppets than any other Muppet thing I've ever seen.
This is one of the ones where the show starts in the queue as well. So there's a pre-show on screens while you're waiting for the doors to open too, so you can, start to get the feel of the Muppets a little bit more, whereas other shows don't have that because it's basically just the one world that they're in. Muppets can be, flexible depending on the topic, and it's in its own building, and so obviously theater seating, air conditioning, yada yada.
Yeah.
There are a couple characters that are live that interact a little bit in the auditorium.
Yep.
So you have a little bit of that interaction, and then it is a screen 3D presentation.
It is.
Hence the Muppet Vision 3D.
Right. So it falls into the world of the 4D show. So you get what are the big things? Because it's like a PhilharMagic and stuff like that, where you get the 3D screen effect with all the different things that'll come at you, and it's very a standard Disney presentation show, but they've done it so branded to Muppets that it does work pretty well. You'll get animatronic Muppets that are up top. You get Muppets that run through. You get Statler and Waldorf, which is just kind of quintessential to anything Muppets, and so that's pretty fun. So it's a really good show. I like its quirkiness. There's something about it that just gets through it worms its way through all my cynicism. I don't know how.
Well, it's because Muppets have so many different levels of intelligence to them.
It's true.
So as we've been growing, we've, associated ourselves with this character and this character, character, and now you and me might as well just be up in our own little balcony
being Statler and
cat
Waldorf.
calling.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the appeal of the Muppets, is it's multi-generational and will allow us to have an entertaining show regardless of the audience.
And what their level of comprehension is. So it's just classic, and if they ever remove it, I will be very upset with them. So.
Yes, it's the only Muppets offering in the parks any longer.
Yeah.
There used to be a bigger Muppets presence, and now there is not, at least in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find the Muppets in a couple other places, but for right now, that used to be their headquarters, and now it's not anymore, except for this one show.
Yeah. So anyway, I strongly recommend it to anybody who likes fun. I don't know,
if you like fun,
do you have a soul? I don't know, it's just no. Still watch it. It doesn't matter. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's near and dear to my heart, and I've watched it ever since I was very young, and it's been different and funny for different reasons every time I've seen it. So definitely worth seeing. Yes.
For those of you listening, he was gesturing to the camera.
I was pointing at our viewer.
So the next show, let's talk about the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular.
Yes. Another personal favorite. That is the longest running show on Disney's Hollywood Studio property.
Yes. Well, the movie came out in 1984, if I remember correctly, that this is based on. And it, I think, started in the parks in, 1989? So this show's been going for about 30 years
yes.
without changing, because they're still like, this is Harrison Ford's stunt double. And it's quite a bit different looking.
Is it though? To be fair, Harrison Ford crashed a World War II era plane into a golf course and got out, like, unscathed. So, maybe it's, I don't know. Can you imagine being one of the golfers that was just, like, on the course? It was, oh my god, this plane crashed, and Harrison Ford just gets out.
Walks out, just kind of stumbles out.
It's just, anyway, that man is hilarious. Anyway, moving on.
So, the show is something that harkens back to the original days of the Hollywood Studios MGM lot, where it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You get to actually see the quote unquote making of a film, where they used to also like offer the backlot tour, and you used to be able to see other things going on. This is really the only taste of it that's left.
Yes, because it definitely feels like the backlot tour. Which is cool. So it is kind of the last holdout for me of being like, because the backlot tour used to be one of my favorites, and so the fact that they still have this is kind of like, at least I have something. I don't know. It's but it's you do get to watch the stuff, and it is fairly intense. Like the kinds of stunts they do right there is fairly intense. I wonder what like the injury rate is.
They still have jumping from high buildings and pyrotechnics and a truck flipping over and other things going on as well. And they pull audience members from the seating to be background extras. So there's always that little chance of that extra Disney magic being able to be part of the show. Which is fun.
Yeah.
And they walk you through everything from setting up a scene to, calling cut, changing out things, because it starts with the big boulder
Right, of course, the boulder scene, always.
And then as they're moving that aside to get to a more city-based scene, that's where they have the explanation of what does the director do, blah, 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 blah,
Right,
blah.
they actually take it on from you're sitting with you're basically in like Video Village with like the director, and that's like kind of how you're interacting with the scene, which is just, to me, it was one of the reasons that I like have a bachelor's degree in video, like in film. Like that's kind of like it was just kind of enchanting to see. So it again, that takes a special place in my heart because of that kind of connection.
It's very action packed. It's very entertaining. You can learn stuff, which is always a Disney perk.
Right.
I love that about Disney, because Disney can make education fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is one of the things that's still around, where they're genuinely trying to explain something to you, where they're actually trying to inform you so you can feel like you walked away with more knowledge than you originally had.
Right.
And still make it entertaining.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I really, that's definitely like my top two. Whatever ends up happening, I'm pretty sure it's my top two. Anyway, moving on.
And then our final one, we might as well just get to it, is Phantasmic.
Yeah.
Now, Phantasmic is a love-hate relationship.
It's another old show.
It is a very old show. Not as old as the Indiana Jones show. But it is one that happens only at night. And it has to do a lot with lights and water screens and some fireworks and pyrotechnics, characters, but pretty much it's turned into just seeing scenes showing on a water screen.
Yeah, the water screen. Yeah.
So you have the mist or waterfall or whatever it is.
Right, a lot of all the baddies plotting and everything, a lot of times it's just the water comes flying up out of the thing, and then they project that onto the water instead of having it happen in real life, which there's a lot of people in the amphitheater, and you're looking at the stage that's kind of way down there, and I don't know.
The story is Sorcerer Mickey is trying to defeat the villains. Primarily Maleficent, the Evil Queen, and Chernabog. And you do have one other scene that takes place on the actual island that is the homage to Pocahontas, which is a pretty much forgotten about movie at this point in time from Disney. So I appreciate that they harken back to it.
Right.
They do have some water floats go by with princesses and their princes doing little dance numbers.
Right.
And then the big steamboat at the end when Mickey defeats the villains and everybody's back to normal.
Yep.
But it's rather underwhelming when you think about how cool this show could be. I mean, they actually do have Maleficent's dragon.
This is true.
And
how
I'm
do you make that boring? And they managed to do it. It's just a show that's just ripe for a revamp. It doesn't need to get blown up and started over.
Why did you have to take away Illuminations? Well, you should have redone this.
We're still mourning the loss of Illuminations. Yeah.
But either way,
this
is definitely a show that could have a breath of fresh air given to it, or CPR at this point in time. I don't know.
It just needs a little lift. A little something, just with some newer tech or something. It doesn't need a lot, but it needs some
more
fresh
than just
stuff
water screens.
More than just water screens.
I mean, when they have all the characters come out on the boat, those are characters you could be using to interact in the story instead of just be at the end waving.
Right. It seems sort of one-dimensional. So
underwhelming.
Yeah, we I guess we have mixed feelings. So I have good memories of Fantasmic, but kind of looking back at it is less exciting. However, it's probably more exciting when you're sitting there too. That's another thing. Is I remember being there and there's a lot. You feel a lot happening, but a lot of just like the intensity of just the water screens.
And I mean, a 5-year-old as well.
Yep.
Difference of opinions versus an adult.
Well, I last saw it when I was about 18. So.
Okay, fine.
But I think it was being part of the moment. It wasn't necessarily the show itself. So there's some of that too. But yeah, it's a good show. It's a classic Disney show, but especially of all the nighttime spectaculars across all of the parks, it is no longer one of the more interesting ones.
No.
It just isn't.
No.
So
it's honestly, I think it's the last
the
of
least.
them.
Yeah.
So down to ranking.
Yes.
You've already kind of stated your top 2.
I kind of have, yeah.
Mine, I've also kind of stated, but let me just refresh.
Yeah.
Probably Beauty and the Beast, just due to the amount of involvement of the show, dancers, singers, costumes, set design, all of that is in there. And then Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular would be my two top.
Okay. So my top is probably...
Oh, are you changing? You're thinking.
My top is going to be Muppet Vision. And then probably Indiana Jones.
I'm staring at you because you're throwing me off.
Yeah. I Beauty and the Beast was okay.
You don't have to like Beauty and the Beast.
No, I know, but that one I just I had to pull that one out. What were you expecting me to say?
Indiana Jones is top.
Oh.
And then Muppet as
Vision.
second. Because what is Muppets? Muppets a screen.
It is, but there is something weirdly magical about the whole show.
I think they've changed the show since you saw it last.
Maybe.
And the one that's playing right now is entertaining, don't get me wrong, but basically Bunsen and Beaker create a new 3D character.
Right, that's always what it was.
Okay. And it goes hopping around.
Yeah, it's hopping around. It's very flimsy. This is empirically a really well thought out thing. It's the Muppets.
It's a nostalgia love.
It's a nostalgia love.
Okay. I can accept that.
And the fact that they blow up the theater and there's all of that, with they do lots of ridiculous effects that for me were always these are really clever.
Really blow up the theater.
Shh, they don't have to know that. They never really blew it up. What do you mean? What will they do now?
It's okay. It's okay.
What?
It's okay.
What?
We're just gonna have to rewatch it when we go down next.
Oh man. Okay. Well, anyway, so if you're pushing hard on it, I can.
I'm not pushing hard.
Well, we have to come to an agreement of some sort.
That's true.
So okay, so you're saying your
There's
first.
a airplane.
Your. What?
There's an airplane in Indiana Jones.
Yes.
That's driving, and fire and explosions.
Yes. And okay, so your first is Wait, okay, is Beauty and the Beast or Indiana Jones first for you?
Number 1 is Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Number 2 is Beauty and the Beast.
Because
Because Beauty and the Beast does need more of a revamp than Indiana
Yeah.
Jones does, even though it's the oldest show and the story is
yeah,
ancient.
yeah, I will say that I will swap for now. Starting now, I'm gonna swap
For
to
now.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm swapping to have Indiana Jones first, and then put Muppet Vision second.
Okay.
And then you now have then the secondary slot is Muppet Vision versus Beauty and the Beast.
Honestly, I could see Muppet Vision being number 2.
Okay.
Because the nostalgia holds better for me with Muppet Vision.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going off of and that was my rationale behind it.
Right,
I was off
absolutely.
of, production value and the
right.
amount of people involved and stage presence and everything
Right,
with
right.
Beauty and the Beast. But you're correct as far as Muppet Vision goes. It's definitely something that it's memorable. It will
Yeah.
stick with you. It is, fitting for everything. It's not just parents sitting there going, "Be our guest,
Be our guest."
Yeah. Because that can happen too.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like, let it go, let it go.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we did it again. Crap.
Of course we did.
Ah.
Well, we were talking about the show today.
That's true.
So
But we hadn't
we had
gotten
an
to-
excuse. We have an excuse.
We hadn't gotten to Let It Go though. We could have. Anyway, that's fine. It's fine. We're all fine.
Do you want to build a snowman? Okay. So I will give Muppet
Vision
number 2.
and then we can put Beauty and the Beast 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rest just need a rework. Except for maybe like Frozen, but that's because
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and
we're just not gonna ever be like going out of our way to go find it. Mm-hmm. If I want to like hear Frozen music, I'll just like watch the movie. I don't need to like do a sing along. I'm good.
Yeah.
Pass.
We don't have kids though, so
no, that's true. What do we
that's
know?
part of the draw of it.
Of that one, yeah, that's true.
Kids being willing to sit down for a half an hour in one spot. What?
Yeah. So yeah.
I understand the appeal, but our list: number 1, Indiana Jones.
Jones.
Number 2, Muppet Vision 3D.
Yep.
And then number 3, go see Beauty and the Beast.
And the rest is totally up to you. Take all that with a grain of salt. So, yeah. Wow. Okay, and so then now we have our number 1 winner that we're going to pull on up to the next bracket.
Yeah.
And that is going to be Indiana Jones. So the number 1 winner.
So what park are we doing next? We don't even know. I guess you'll have to wait and find out to see. And we will cover those in the next episode of this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. These are fun. Always a fan of these.
Well, thank you so much for listening and watching. This has been WD Carousel of Podcast. My name's Crystal.
And I'm Ian.
And we hope you have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.